Hello, welcome to the second stream of the day. This is a homework edition, which means that we aren't going to focus as much on Ruby on Rails live streaming as much as we normally do, and we can kind of take a look at some of the stuff around Ruby on Rails and what might be involved in, building a kind of modern web app these days. And first thing to talk about is that I have a new microphone, which is very exciting. If I just raise this up a little bit into the shot, you can see that it's very snazzy, has some lights on. But anyone who's seen more than one of these streams, it's going to be noisy while I just move that back, will know that I've had issues with my old microphone regularly cutting out and having issues with Streamlabs not starting and things like that. Whereas I'm hoping that this should resolve all of those issues and should sound great too. I have no idea. I haven't had a chance to play with the settings. It has loads of settings, but I don't know. It seems to work and I haven't been able to break it yet, so that's pretty good. So what we're going to do in this homework edition is take a look at the UI design, because we've got all our technologies done in the kind of normal Sunday Club episodes. We've got Tailwind up and running, and this morning we took a look at how we kind of build out our own little mini components using their @apply syntax. Take a look at the stream from this morning if you're interested in that. And we also looked at using view component, and then this morning again we looked at talking about how Tailwind is kind of component based way of thinking about the UI. And so what we really want to do is have something to design towards. We want to know what this thing is going to look like. And so the tool that I have picked to do this with is a tool called Figma. So if you're not familiar with Figma, it is a user interface design tool, and it seems to be very popular, definitely rising in popularity. I have used a tool for a long time called Sketch, which is Mac only. So it is built for Mac OS, and that's kind of what you use it with. And Figma is cross-platform. In fact, it's browser-based. So everyone can access it through their browser. Another really cool thing about it is that it's real-time collaboration. So as multiple people are in the same UI design, you can see each other in there moving elements around and have conversations around that, which is kind of a big deal. So I thought we would work with Figma and we could do two things. One, design our UI, and I could also learn Figma, having not learned it and worked in Sketch for most of the time. And as I understand it, a lot of the principles are the same and things like that, and I want to see what's different. So let's take a look at some stuff. Let's jump over to our screen. And don't worry if this is not quite visible to begin with, everything's pretty zoomed out. So on the screen at the moment, you can see Figma. This is the Mac app, but this is basically what would appear if you went to the browser to work in Figma as well. This is, as far as I'm aware, the Mac app is just a wrapper around the web-based. I'm assuming it's something like Chromium or Electron or something that does that, I assume, because there doesn't seem to be any difference in the experience. The big difference for me by using the Mac app is that the Mac app has access to local fonts, which the web doesn't seem to. And if that is incorrect and anyone sees this and knows that that's wrong, it'd be really good to know, because I'm using a font from Adobe Fonts. Here it's called Sophia Pro, and I get that as part of my Adobe Cloud licensee thingy. Having been a long Typekit user before Adobe purchased those. And so I then have that font on my device, my actual laptop. And so when I use the Figma app, which is on the screen at the moment, I'm able to use, if I click in here, we can see that this is, wherever you see the font here, Sophia Pro. Again, I'll zoom this in a second so it will be easier to read. But I can't do that when I view it in the browser because the browser can't access my local fonts. So let's, I'm just going to zoom in the interface scale a little bit more. Let's do make larger. Let's do make larger again. So hopefully that's a little bit more visible now. You don't really need to read too much of these. You can kind of go and play with Figma if you're interested in how they work. So let's. Okay, so what we've got on the screen at the moment is kind of an iPhone width canvas, and you can see that I've already started adding some elements to it. So I've got a white rectangle here, which kind of represents our header. I've grabbed our little SVG from the Noun project that we use as the logo, and I've popped the word menu. And then I've got this heading, this is the app that we're building, simple websites for your YouTube channel. So you can see in the other streams that you go through and put in the name of your channel, then fill in some information, and then we build you a little website. That's kind of what the app is going to do, we think. And if we take a look at our homepage at the moment, we have this Sunday Club homepage, and then we have a box, and it just says create site. So this kind of call to action we want to bring over into our design, so that we can see what it's going to look like, and then we can come back and code it. And the other thing I want to reference here is Tailwind CSS, which is the tool that we put together for oh no, sorry, not the tool that we put together, but the tool that we put in our app to give us this kind of CSS utility library that we can then use. And we really want to kind of design towards that so that we know what components we're going to build, what that looks like. And on the stream, I think a couple of weeks ago, we grabbed one of their existing pre-made UI components and literally just copied and pasted it in. And so what we really want to do now is see what they have available, kind of use that as design inspiration, but also make it our own in our own Figma file, and then kind of look at how we build that. So for example, how do you build a little menu bar like this that scales up to desktop width when you're using Tailwind? So we can find that out. I'm guessing they probably have some of those in there. They seem to have that off-the-shelf library of components. I'm guessing there's probably navbar and stuff in there. So maybe we can use some of that and then see how we have to tweak it to get it to look or work as we want it to. And what do we kind of get for free? So that's all I've done so far. And so I think that what we can start with is, let's go and see. I'd actually Google. Let's go and see existing Tailwind stuff for Figma. So I Googled around earlier, and this seems to be a pre-built set of Figma tools and stuff, components and things that you can grab. And this is just an embedded Figma file, I guess. And you can see here that they've got all the default Tailwind things already built. Now, the only thing I am wondering about this, if we look here, you can see the color scheme. But earlier on, we looked at the docs and we had to update some of our work because the color scheme had changed between 1 and 2. So there was no teal, for example. Okay, so that's... there's no teal here either. So maybe this has been updated for 2. Can you see like so last updated 12 days ago. So that would be when it was updated to version 2. So we should see, hello. Yes, and let's pop it up in the chat. So we should see some sort of changelog here. Not really sure how these, this is a Figma follow creators. Can't really see when this has changed. But let's use this. Let's pick it. How do we do that? So we like it. We want to do something with it. How do I do that? Duplicate. Okay. So now it's taking me over. So again, this is in my browser here. So it's going to take me into Figma. And it looks like it's made a new Figma document for me with a bunch of stuff in it. So maybe the changelog would actually be in the file itself. I don't know how we'd find that in Figma. So again, I'm new to this. So show version history, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, but I'm looking at the version history of my version. Okay, that doesn't really help. Okay, we don't need that too much. So how do I close this pane over here? Oh, done. Well, that's interesting. Oh, I see. So you go in here to view. It's interesting that the pane is over on the right, but the actions are in the top left. I wonder if that's consistent. Do you get other... Is this always where your next action is in the top left? That'd be interesting to see. Okay. So again, now we've got this app open here in our browser, but presumably if I go back to my Figma stuff here, I can also open this in the app. So again, remember earlier I said that my understanding is that you can have multiple... okay, look. So we've got two M's here. They're both me. So one represents my browser and one represents the app. And you then have two cursors. So you can see the other version of me has got their cursor there. And you could then be manipulating the same design components and things like that at the same time. So really powerful if you work in teams or want to kind of do anything collaboratively, which is where something like Sketch, my understanding is that's not... I haven't used Sketch for a little while, but it wasn't possible previously. So that could be a big advantage. So let's close the one in the browser tab and jump over. And so what we hope is that a bunch of this stuff is stuff that we will already have. So if, for example, these font sizes are already our defaults, perhaps we can take them over. Now, in Sketch, there is this concept of text styles and shared styles across this idea of having a library. So you can have a bunch of things that you have designed in your library, but then you can also have a bunch of presets. So there would be colors, text styles, just like a design library that a designer might give a development team or something like that. So I'm assuming that there is something. So Figma exports CSS. So I mean more in tool so in the tool itself, you might have like a text style that then you can use in other documents. So let's say, for example, we're working on this document here, but we want to take all of these text styles and take them out over to here. Can you use export CSS for that? I wonder if it's worth loading. Hang on, let me see if I can. Don't know if I've got Sketch round or what it's going to open. Yeah, so let's take a look here. So this is Sketch as a comparison for what I'm looking for. So if we say, we kind of put in a new thing and then say, hello. And then we kind of set that to be black or gray, and we just make it a bit smaller. And then we can say, turn that into a text style. So here we can make it a text style and we can say create, and this can be called like main heading. And then you can add these text styles, you can update them and add them to a library, and then copy that library across. And I think you can then have multiple libraries. So add as library and things like that. So I'm just wondering if that's an equivalent thing here. So is there something, got assets. Libraries, exactly what I'm looking for. Max's team colors. So I can publish this as a library. Okay, so where did I find that? I don't know if that's really intuitive design or if I just got super lucky there. So in the layers on the left-hand side is all of the stuff from this. There's a different set of thing at the top called assets that has local components. Not really sure what that's doing. I'm guessing it's changing. Okay, so that changes the layout of this column. And then team library. So we can then presumably publish this as a library. Create a team to publish components. Only members of professional team can publish components to a shared library. Create a new team or join an existing team. So do I have to, publish styles only? That's awesome. Okay, so publish styles only. Yes, I wish to do that. Oh, amazing. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so let me go back a step. So this has this file has components in it. So like these things down the left, like a banner is a component because it's got individual elements that they form together to make one component. When you have a professional team, you can share both the styles and the components across the whole team. So for example, that means you're always all using the same set of buttons. You're all using the same set of, we've got down the left is alerts, cards, containers, things like that. So that's all shared. If you don't have a paid team, I'm not a paid member of Figma. I pay for Sketch, but I don't pay for Figma. What it had was a call to action that was publish styles only. So let's click that. And what it has is, yes, so it has exactly what we were talking about. So I showed you the equivalent in Sketch, and this is colors, styles, and components. So only 542 components will not be published. Wow, that's a lot. Only members of professional teams can publish components for shared library, create a new team, or join an existing team. Okay, well we only want these. Optional description of changes. So Tailwind CSS styles, publish styles. Where am I publishing them to? I don't have a team, so is it just to my account? I don't know. Well, they're publishing. Okay, so when they've published, I think that we want to be able to go back to our other file and access these text styles. So successfully published library updates. Great. So in here, go into assets. To use libraries for quick access to components from other files. That's this. And so we can do explore libraries. So here's the Tailwind one. We can turn that on. Hang on a second. I'm just gonna, yeah. 10 minutes, yeah. Okay. I'm just going to set a timer for 10 minutes and I'll have to take a break because there's something in the oven that needs checking on. So that's some real-time streaming updates about tea being ready. Okay, so we want to be able to access this. It says it's draft. Okay, but I don't think that matters. So if we then, do we just click out of this? How do we get that to show up here? Oh, okay. So do we enable? Or is it just now available in like when we go to do text stuff? So again, I'm just clicking around this now. I'm not looking through any docs, just to see how similar they are. This isn't a very step by step, but I'm interested in just seeing how transferable it is from knowing one to the other. Okay, so I've got my library there and it's enabled. So can I click on any of this stuff? No, okay. And then when if I'm just make a text content here. So how do I give that one of the presets that I now, this little icon here. So style, great. Okay. So I can say text. Right. Okay. Excellent. So then we can make one of these or adjust this one to be our own. Okay. So that's the community one. And I've then, okay. So then if I find one in here, so text 5L. I'm looking for the association that gives this. Okay, so there's its name. edit the style. And that's where we tell it what style. So that's text 2XL regular. So in there, if we just make this red, and then is this it? What I'm looking for is this the place where this has now been set? So it's published and up to date. So I've made a change here and that hasn't, or has that automatically updated here? So we do text 2XL regular, which I think is the one I changed here. Text 2XL regular. So I've now made it red. And what I want to do, I think, is publish that change. Is that correct, do we think? This changes. Or is that not how we change this? Or can we edit it from here? Edit style. Go to style definition to edit. Okay, so it's jumped us over here. Current file is published. So I've changed it to red. Do I have to unpublish and republish it? This action will remove all of the components in this file from the library. No, I don't want to do that. So I want to republish, or is that not an option? Just want to see, I basically want to see this one go red. So there's a library that I have. I make an update in the library and I want to see that change happen where that library is being used. Okay, so I think it's more like this one that we need. Save local copy or place. Okay, so I'm looking for nothing under publish. Again, this is a bit like coding stuff. There's probably someone who's screaming at their computer right now. So I'm going to Google it if we jump over to the browser. And so we want Figma republish library after changes. Figma will display a push notification when you make a change to a published component. Well, I haven't made a change to a component. Oh, publish change to made components. Publishing additional styles. Yes. Okay. If you already published your library, you can also publish additional styles and components. This is great if you're missing a component. Assets tab. Okay, so that's publishing additional styles or components, but I've just changed one that I already had. Click on the Assets tab in the private to this file section. Click on the Assets tab in the Layers panel. Okay. Click on the Assets tab in the Layers panel. I think that's this. In the private to this file section. To this file. I don't know what that is. So I don't see styles in here. I'm trying to think if this is not obvious or if I'm just so used to Sketch's way of doing things. So if I go here, I'm looking for in the private you'll find commands. Right click, select add to library. So I get the idea that there could be another one. So if I just do this and then make a new text style called test red, create style. I do that from here. test red. So I'm just making a new style now. And then if I go to assets, okay, so now we've got a dot. Okay, so that is appearing as one change, but changing the color of one didn't. Is that because color doesn't come through on text style? So let's undo the addition of that one. So that's then gone away. So this, let's change it by making it bold. So let's come into here. And we are gonna say, how do we make it bold? I know there's already an equivalent bold one as a style, but can I not do that because it's already a style? How do I update a style? Okay. So Figma update existing style. Okay, styles. Whenever you make a change to a style's property, like updating the text color from red to blue, Figma will apply those changes to any objects using that style. Okay, so when I colored this red, do I just have to wait for this to go red? You don't have to republish it? Because there's no dot here. That's indicating that it's right. So can I, like... It knows that it's getting the style. Go to style definition to edit. So it goes to here where that same one is red. But it says it's up to date. And there are no updates available. Okay, I'm a little bit lost on that. Okay. Okay, so let's carry on past that. So that's something to look up that I'll try and post about. Okay, I'm just gonna take a break real quick. Hello, sorry about that. There was I had to go check on food. Okay, so we've got 10 more minutes to take a look at this. So we've taken a look at the kind of reusable components aspect of it, which I haven't quite got to the bottom of, but kind of got the gist of it. So we know that we can have something like this, and can we... Oh, you can't actually... Is that the concept of... Okay. Oh, that's kind of... How do I preview one and then another when it disappears like that? Can I do... Okay, that's kind of annoying. So the equivalent there on Sketch, I think, is that you would have one. You see a preview of the text here. But I think if I had two, I would see... yeah, I see live previews as I click through, which is... Didn't realize how helpful that was. Okay, so we don't want that. And so we really want a button. Now, did a button come over in our component library? I'm guessing not, because I'm guessing it's in assets. So hopefully we can go and grab one. So we can do button. We can go to it by double clicking. No. Okay, do we go and find it? Okay, so this is buttons. These two are primitive components. Try to change them. Oh, okay, so I think if we change these, it will change the others. Cool. Okay, so we can see that if we change the root one, it will change the others. But because they're components, that then won't go across to the other file because we're not a paid team. Okay, that makes sense. So if we grab our primitive one, as it calls it, and paste it in here. Okay, auto layout has a new look. Build fully responsive components with the new auto layout update. Stretch in any direction, control padding. Okay. That's weird. Okay, fine. I don't know what that is. So this is now... So this has come across, it's purple. So I think that would mean that it is a reusable component. So the auto layout stuff is maybe triggered because I've done that. So there is the idea that that's a primitive. So I can make a version of that. So the next one that they had there was a one with rounded corners. So that is doing what? Using simple button default and then changing one of the values. Button simple default. So button primitive default. So here we have button simple default, and that's got that. And has that value change there, I think, which is the corner radius. So here, can we duplicate? Okay, so we just do copy and paste. And then say, oh, is that what the others look like? No. I'm just trying to see if I can replicate that. And then just give this one a value of 4. Okay, and is that still dependent on this one? So if we change the color of this. Yes, they both change. Okay, excellent. So this one is, and I'm assuming that's because the indication of that is that this one has this symbol, a little 4. I don't know if that's coming through on the stream, but like a little 4-way diamond, and this one just has a little plain diamond. And so we've then changed an attribute there of Figma, and we can change that button. So there we would have button, and yeah, not being able to bring over all those components. Let's see if there's a Sketch equivalent. Sketch kit. Okay, so this one's available and for version 2. Oh, okay, so there is one for Sketch. Okay. And we get kind of the same gist. There's buttons and things, but obviously with Sketch there is no paid versus unpaid teams. You either have it or you don't. So if we download this, I just want the zip file really. Okay, so let's just drop that down there. I'm just opening the sketch file up. Right, so here I think we can use this as a library immediately. So this is one sketch file here, this other one is behind it. And I think if we do we have to, so add as library. And then I think here we can, oh no, sorry. No, so, right, I see. So on your Mac, we can then say downloads. Oh, okay. How do I actually get to the libraries through here? So here I have to actually, I need, we've added this as a library. Created global colors. Oh, Tailwind, I'm totally blind. Tailwind CSS is totally there. So if I then say insert symbols, okay, so I immediately get base pill, for example, here. All right, so that is slightly handier in terms of then if I keep this one in sync, I could do something by changing this, for example. Colors indigo. I can change it to a lighter one. Save this and then jump back. I think that we will get a prompt here that the underlying library has changed. That's my memory of this. So we're looking at the difference between how the two tools handle changes on the library when looking at the actual one that's using it. So do we have to sync library components? Do we have to save this? Is that the difference? So if we save that, okay, do you have to do the same thing on this one? I remember these happening automatically previously. So I would get a little notification in the top corner that said the library had been updated. So if I then go and grab a new version of that, so I want to insert here, buttons, base pill, that's still, I think that's the wrong library. I wonder if I've got an old version of that. Show in Finder. No, that has just taken me to the file we've just downloaded. Okay, so it is the right place. So that's button pill has been changed. Maybe it's this one here that we need to change. So then save that. It might just be that I'm editing the wrong root component. No, okay. Okay, so I'm saving that. Just going to make a bunch of changes just to see what I can see. These match the changes that we were looking at earlier in the stream when we were looking for buttons and things. That's kind of what I want to tie up our CSS to our sketch file. So I saved this library, what I think is the library. So this is updated today at 1817. It's now 1817, so that should all be up to date. And then we go into buttons. They're all purple. Okay. So that is not working as I expected to in Sketch either. This document is library. Changes made to its components may be visible in other components. Okay, so we're kind of learning Figma. We're learning a bit of Sketch. And I have to clearly do more homework before diving in on either of these. So my understanding, right, so this is this component is made of 4 separate things. This is back in Sketch: icon, label, fill, and shadow, and they're overrides. So is all I'm doing here just changing? So there, I'm changing that override. And did they then not come through because it's an override? Is that why they're not changing in my file, even though it's using the symbol from the library? Is it still associated with the library? So that's a symbol. If I want to edit the original. Oh, it's not a symbol. Okay, so it has create symbol, but also detach from symbol. The symbol belongs to library. It's part of TSF, so open in library. Ah, okay, great. So it was the wrong thing. Okay, amazing. So what was I looking at then? Right, okay, so I was looking at components that used... Okay, amazing. So I was looking at components that use it. So now if I change base rounded button here, and instead I want my color red 400 here, and then save, and then I can do my base pill as well as red 400. Save, and I may as well do my rounded as well, just seeing as well we're here. Amazing, so save those, jump back to my other doc. Right, this is what I was looking for. Amazing, so I think we might have to stick with Sketch just because of being able to use components, and then maybe I can publish them in a Git repo in the same way that this is done if anyone does want to look at them. So I could say update these, it shows me the before and after. I can update the components and they change accordingly. Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to end the stream there, but that was an interesting, quick, deep dive into, well, a very shallow dive into Figma and Sketch. I think we might end up using Sketch just because of being able to grab pre-made components off the shelf like this. And if we're going to use Tailwind, and that is one of its advantages, I don't really want to be paying for two UI design tools when there's no real needs. What we'll try and do is work out a way to publish these. Amazing. So let's just jump back over. Hopefully you have been able to hear this the whole time with my new microphone. And thank you to everyone who's commented or mentioned anything about the streams. And hopefully these are useful for people. So they seem to be, depending on what topic people are interested in. And have a great rest of your day or evening, and I'll see you either beforehand if we do some more UI design stuff, but definitely next Sunday for Sunday Club. Have a great day.